Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's another fun-filled week. Should be very interesting to see how it all plays out. Retail sales and FOMC on Wednesday, so that could be the I guess little energy thrown into the market. It's hard to say because we're not really seeing a lot, just some good strength. That's about it. Let's take a look at the dollar index and start off there. You see it up on J4X. You see it's climbing higher. Interest rates are sideways to up, I guess you could say. So in other words, it's basically interest rates have been increasing on a very low, soft level. It's that time of the year where it is really slow. You can see here we are getting ready to pierce that 103. The high today is 102.91, and we are basically touching it as we speak. And we've talked about this, how it would possibly climb into the 103s now, 103 and a half. Excuse me. Let's check the chat. Let's check the chat line at the same time. And so the combination of all this is really starting to build up. There you go. What do we got? We got Mountain there. I see Mountain. Dollar set to fall against the pound and Australian dollar. Well, let's take a look and see. The dollar falling against them. At this point, they're rising against the cable. I've noticed that. Let's see. Let's check that out. Right there. And right there. Yeah, it went into the weekly sell last week, so it's not. Let's see, the dollar set to fall against the pound and the Australian dollar. Right now, it's doing the opposite. It's been falling against the dollar instead. You can see it from this high up in here in the 131. You're thinking that they're going to bottom in here. That would make some sense. I agree with you there. Problem is that we're in a daily sell and a weekly sell, and so we need to see the fast turn up through the zero line. And the same thing with the daily. We need to start to turn through the buy, over here. So not yet, I would say, but it's that point of view. Hey, Robin, that point of view makes sense in the sense that it's should bottom out in that area. New Zealand dollar. Let's go look at the New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar pairs trade's been kind of interesting in since it tries to break away from the NAS-CAD, but in this case here, so this is New Zealand dollar. So this is, let's see, this is the New Zealand. So it's losing against the dollar. It's been falling the same way as the pound has, and we've been in a weekly sell. I guess we have to move that over. It's been a while now, isn't it? Right there. We've been in a weekly sell since up in here. And no one's really asked about it in a while. Look at that. Now we've been in a daily sell. We got into a buy here. So we had a sell here. And then we had a buy for... Did we have a buy? Yeah, I think we did. That looks like a buy to me. And that was a buy. And then it fell apart again. And then we went into a sell on the next day. Right there. We went into the sell there. And then we went into the buy again right here. Because it just missed it there. That's a minus. No, that's not a minus. So it went into the buy there. And then, these short little one-day things in a weekly sell, you don't take those buys. So it's only the sells you take. And they've been three big good winners. Now there's a buy again. And it fails... right there. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. So that's a green. And you can't take it because we're in that weekly sell on it. And there's a buy again. Can't take it because we're in a weekly sell. And there's one right there. And you can't take that because we're in a weekly sell. So each one of these buys have been poor. We're going to need this thing to bottom, give us more than one day, and at the same time, the weekly's going to have to start turning up at the same situation, just like the cable. But I can see you're looking at this, this area here, and it's making new lows below it today. And let's move over a little bit more. Actually, look at that. That's a long while. Where's that? That's back in 23. So you're at a 1 year low at the moment. This year low. And was it back in November of last year? Is that 22? Yeah, that's November of 22. It bottomed in not bottomed, but it was down in that area. And the bottom was in the. Let's see if we can widen this a little bit for you. And the bottom was in the 56 area. Basically, it was 56. No, 55.12. So 55.12 area. Basically. What is that? That's 58. Oh, they must be in twos. Okay, so yeah, I would say that. Let's see, 55.12, and where are we at right now? 59. I don't know how fast they're going to bottom, but we'll have to see. Mountain. Today or this week, I am saying. Well, the math is saying no, but that's today. Tomorrow, the math might say yes. But going back and looking at that, it's at a 1 year low and it's broken and created a new 1 year low. Normally you get bounces out of that. Problem is that notice each one of these bounces while we're in a weekly sell, notice they've rolled right over again. Even matter of fact, look at that one. That was interesting. They go into the buy there and they pop it hard. By the end of the day, they slam it. Same thing with this one. No, this one, next day they just rolled over. This one here, same thing. They just rolled over. Couple days later, they tried to pop it, but it failed, and and here we are making new 1 year lows. Let's see. Right now, it's doing the opposite. Not yet, but will soon. Okay. Well, we'll see. One thing's for sure is that it's trying. That is for sure. It is trying. It's trying to go down. It's not really showing any signs of buying, but you know what? Here, I'll throw you a bone. Here we go. Look at the slow. Look how low it is. Let's put a line in there, and let's see the last time it's been that low. So you go like that, and we'll make it really thick, and we're going to make it green, and you'll be able to see it really clear like that. So now let's slide that. Not there, huh? Wow. Not there. They've taken out this low. Well, let's see. Last time it went down to that low, you can see it still took weeks to get going again, and it did. It turned, but it was in a weekly sell, and it took like 3 or 4 weeks. No doubt you would be a winner. Especially on the buys. Problem is you're in a weekly sell, so you don't trust it. I don't trust it. At least that's the way I look at it. I don't trust it. So because the mathematics says that the smart, unless you're trading like the options, you'll get stopped out on things. It can be very tough. You see that low there, but let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can make this biggerish like that, and then we'll tighten it up. Let's do this. And then we'll move this up like so. And then we'll tighten it up so we don't lose it. Okay, that was whoop. Right there. It's really making some deep lows. That's a real rollover. Wonder if we can put more time on this. Let's see what we do here. Let's make it 600. Alright, let's see what happens now. Okay, there we go. So it met those lows. You see that here. Where's that mouse at? You can see it met those lows back in October. So the internal is really, really close to the big bottom that happened in October. Now look at it, bounced around in there for a while, for about 3 or 4 more weeks, made new lows. So I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking, another week or two, say a couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and it might build a nice low at a bottom in here, and it'll become a higher low from the overall. Let's see if we can see anything else here. This is not historic, but let's go to J4X and take a look at the NAS dollar pairs trade for like the last 9 years. Where are you, NAS? Right there, there we are. Let's make that the whole screen. And let's go to a monthly. Here comes the monthly. It could be about 3 weeks away. Just looking at past history. That's usually the best way to look at it. And it's loading. It'll load up. And that's what I'm saying right there, is that let's just go. We're going to make it small until it fills up. So let's see, where is it at here? Yeah. See, and it did it here too. It got down that low back in May of 22. We had a couple week bounce out of that. That was pretty good. That's what you're looking for right there. You're hoping for that, because that's where we're at now. We are in the slow. We're in that area. Matter of fact, let's tighten that up even more for you. Yeah. So we're down in here. You're hoping for a move like this. And first of all, we're going to need a daily buy. That's without a doubt. If you're going to gamble that much, you need a daily buy. And then hopefully you can, if you have some options on it, that would be nice if you're down that way. Yeah, that's the way I see it right there. So it's playing with. Now, why is that? Let's put that all together again, tight. There we go. It's loaded up now. Let's take a look at that. Now there is. You're looking at this low right there. That's what the. Is that what it is? No, it was probably this low. Well, this is monthly. Okay, yeah. So what was that? That is 22. So that was a low there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully it's not going to go take out this 55 area. That's what I'm concerned about, because it might go meet these. Now this one failed to break this one. And the question is it going to go down to, say, somewhere down in the 56s or 57s? Be very careful. This thing has great potential to have that issue. And but look at that. That's you would think that you're thinking that it's going to bounce off of this, and it makes some sense. But the problem is this: it's consolidated on Chicago Quan again. So there is the October of 22. There's the May of 22. There's a lot of pressure on there, because it got down here, gave a great bounce, and then rolled over again. And then it tried to do another great bounce, with it turning up here. Let's just widen this out. Just wait for the daily buy at least. Let's see. It would be nice, daily buy with the fast moving up through it. Yeah. You need those daily buys where you get some strength out of it. Now the fast did join in really quick in here after about 4 weeks. But after making a low, about a week and a half, making a new low. To me, it's very, very clear. Wait for a daily buy. I can see you trying to run around the weekly. I understand that, and that brings the success rate down. But and you're looking at historical numbers, so you're thinking that it's going to bounce there. But we've seen it hesitate one time, and one time it did it. So it's literally a coin flip. You got to be careful with that. Yeah, exactly. We'll see what tomorrow brings. But I don't see any daily buys coming out of tomorrow unless they give them a reason. Now, remember, FOMC is on Wednesday. So more than likely, if you're going to get some type of bottoming going on, it'll probably start off on Wednesday or Thursday, something like that. Let's see now. From there, where do we go from there? From there, let's see what we can do. I guess we go back to the dollar index real quick. I guess it doesn't really matter at this point. The dollar's, showing more strength. We're thinking it's going to get into the 103s. We've been talking about that for about a week and a half now, 2 weeks. So it's not a big surprise. Big. Let's go over there. Not a big surprise. No. And the weekly buy was right there. Let's get rid of that. The fast has been in there for a couple of weeks. That's what you need. You need a daily buy with a fast. Definitely, that'll help out a lot. That's for sure. All right. From there, let's shoot back over to the daily. Let's go back to the daily on this. Right there. And, wow, that is one heck of a slide from the 64 area down to the 59 area. They're really beating that hard, isn't it? Like a drum. So from there, we'll go back to the euro, I guess. And what was the other one you were talking about? Oh, cable. Should we look at the cable? Mountain, we can go deeper and look at the cable. The cable's going on to a weekly. When's the last time cable's been around here? Let's see. Let's go to cable. We'll do it on J4X there. Now it's playing with the June lows. That's what that's trying to. Well, there it is right there. It's trying to play with the August lows. So we're not that far off. But you have to wonder if that's the next spot. Something's a little off. Again, remember, this is a very thin time of the year between the last 2 weeks of July and the first 2 weeks of August. This is a very thin time of the year. Trends here don't always continue. And so in this case, that's probably in your favor. In other words, there might be a bounce out of nowhere because, again, this time of the year is very thin. Yeah, exactly. Wednesday, Thursday. We'll see what they do there. All right, now. Let's see, what else can we do? Let's go to, where are we going? Oh, let's go to the euro. Let's see what the euro is up to this morning. There's euro and a daily sell for 5 days now, and it closed in a weekly sell last week too at the same time. There. Not bad. Not bad at all. When it comes to this euro, it's holding high. But a lot of these things are. It's come from all-time lows. Right here is the all-time lows. That was all-time lows right there. 95. It was a heck of a nice rally, when you think about it. 95 to was that 125? 127. So it was what was that, like a 30 some odd % increase from the all-time lows. How many years did we hear people ask, when is it going to break the century? When is it going to break the century? It broke the century and brought in the buyers. All right, now from there we go over to cable. And let's put it up on J4X too before we leave there. There it is against cable. And here it is against the euro, flirting around. I see cable hitting support. Let's take a look at that a little bit deeper, and let me put it up on J4X too. It went into the weekly sell last week, same as the euro did. Get rid of that right there. And you know, in many ways, the cable looks so much firmer. You know, I mean, they let's see, go back. I mean, when, let's see, this is where in October of last year they were making a low in the euro at all-time lows. This thing, I guess, was that an all-time low too? It might have been an all-time low also. Let's take a look at it on J4X on a monthly. Yeah, that was all-time lows. So both of them at the same time found all-time lows in the fall of last year. So 12 months ago, not even now, it's still like 10 months ago, they were both at all-time lows. The bounce wasn't as big, I think. I think we talked about this. You and I might have talked about this a while back. You know, like the high here, whereas the euro. Let's go back to the euro for a second. I think the euro basically took those highs out, and the cable did not. No, it didn't do it either. They haven't taken those highs out either. So, you know, I mean, support is really challenging in here. You would assume, in many odd ways, you would look at like the 106s, maybe the 1010s as a support for the euro, and for the cable, you're looking at, you would assume this area here, which is the 124 area. So it's a lot closer, but you got that low, you've got this low here at 120, 123. You know, they're let's think about that for a second. Remember, I'm gonna default in my head about this time. If this was happening, if we saw the euro and the cable trading like this in September or October, you know, I would think it might be a low. But due to the fact that it's happening in this dead period that occurs every year, and the follow-through never seems to happen, you know, it seems to be just like I say to Robin, it's not that there's sellers, it's just that there's a buyer's strike. So in other words, they're not pushing on it hard to push it down. They're just, the buyers are just not there. So it's the ebb and flow of funds adjusting their positions. So I'm not sure if you could say there's a bottom there. I would say more is this time of the year, these 4 weeks is one of the, you know, consistencies where markets are thin and they get pushed around by who needs what they want. And a lot of times there's not a lot of participation going on. And then you get like going into next week, then all of a sudden it starts to firm up. You start to see it firm up with volume. And it shows interest. You know, people start to pay attention to what's going on. So that's kind of like the best way to describe it. Not a bottom, just a very thin market. And we emphasize that, and we're always reminding everybody that every year, that this is a very thin area. And you know, now if you obviously you're just trading on a short-term basis of days, then you just wait for a daily buy and you look for like the fast stochastic, a fast jump above on J4X, and over on Chicago Quant you look for the fast algorithm to jump through. Let's see, where's that? Let's widen this out. And that's what you really want. You want to see the blue line get through here and get into a daily buy, and you might get a 3-day move like that, you know, or like this. You might get that, and then it'll flatten out for a couple of days. And now in this case here, since it's in a slow buy, you know, the pressure on it was continuously on the upside to the point where it challenged the sell, but it didn't get there. It was still a buy, and it was a green dot, and you know, it kept on climbing. So I think that's the way you've got to look at that. And until we get through, like, next week, I'm not taking it too serious. A lack of buyers. That's the best way to describe it. Not a lot of sellers, just a lack of buyers. How's that? Does that make any sense? And from there, we're going to go over to Swiss. And there's a Swiss. Swiss kind of telling us the pathway here. You know, it's lifting also with everything else. And bang up against its Bollinger Band and the whole bit. And our over on Chicago Quant, we're through the manifold with no problem. And you can see the weekly has jumped this morning. And it's through the slow and the fast. Normally that's a sign of some buying for the next 5 or 6 days. So that's where I see that with the Swiss. Now the Swiss, maybe I'm talking about buying of dollars against the Swiss. So if the Swiss is failing, you would assume the cable and the euro will be failing. I don't see any economic or business issues out of Switzerland at the moment. There's no major bank or brokerage having problems. With the events of this week, I am thinking we will get some major upside in AU dollar and NZ US dollar over the next couple weeks. You're thinking? Is that what you're thinking? That's that's the way I'm thinking too. It's going to take a couple weeks, and we want to see the math turn. It's a combination of all of it. All right, now from there, we dance our way over to the yen, and the yen doing that thing. You know what? We didn't even see let's see what the Swiss looks like up on J4X there, right there. There it is, right there. Yeah, making some moves there. Will they play it to the what's that? The 89 area, high 88s, maybe. Lack of buyers. You think this is significant? Why is that? In a dead time of the year, why is it significant? I mean, in my head, I'm saying that's what I'm thinking. I just said it out loud. That's all. It's a dead period where traders are gone and markets are thin. I wouldn't think of it as significant, but you can. I mean, is there big news coming out? Is there big changes coming around the corner? I mean, if there is, then it would be significant. In other words, is there an election in the next, 4 to 6 weeks? That type of thing. Is government policy going to change? Remember, government policy influences all of these things. They tax and they change. What do you call it? Laws for exporting and importing, or labor laws. They shift things around and enforce pressure on growth. I mean, that's what it really comes down to, growth. Here we go. Yes. Okay. So Tuesday, NZ Central Bank announcement. All right. And with these events, I am okay. And then this is significant for the pair, right? That would make sense. Tuesday's NZ announcement meant. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, now we got FOMC here too on Wednesday. So I guess you're right. That could be something that would give insight to the interest rates, because remember, that's the big question: is will the central bank, will the treasury, in your case you call it the finance minister, will they be changing policy? That's a possibility. They'll be changing policy, and that does it right there. I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they work all together. They're working in coordination. They really are. They're talking. They have, they do have policies like that. Yeah, they do. They're always trying to do something. In coordination across the planet. They want them all. In other words, the central banks don't want to be battling with each other. They want to be working with each other. All right, from there we go over to the yen. Yen. Right there. There we are. You see it? Wow. Taking out the 45 now. And we thought that we're going to see that, and I was like, oof. You know, it's like I'm thinking they're going to go visit 51. What a, you know what would be classic? They don't take out the high of January. I guess that's what it is. January. Yeah, they don't take out the high of January. No, it's October. Okay, so they don't take that high of October out. They get up into say 50 or 50.01 or something like 50 and a little change, but they don't go take out the 151, and then they roll back over again. That would not surprise me. Oh yeah, definitely. Patience is always the key. Yeah, patience is always the key, without a doubt. All right, now from there, where do we go from there? We go to, where do we go? We go to Turkish lira. Go take a look at the experiment. And they kept that thing in a cell. Oh, what did they do on Friday before we left? How about that? They made another, is it an all-time high? 131.38. And the all-time high there is 131.57. So no, they did not take out the all-time high. How about that? Let's see if it reflects on J4X. This is an American trading late when the markets are closed in the world on a Friday. Talk about messing with somebody's head. Right there. And so they're showing that's the Thursday high of 120. What is that? Yeah. There's the Thursday high of 29.9. And Friday they're not reflecting it. It's 29.77. But here in the States, you can see the illiquidity. And here we're trying to follow the euro Turkish lira because we know that it's much more liquid than the dollar Turkish lira. We've had some really wild swings in that 24-hour period. It just shows the illiquidity as we talk about. You see, Russian ruble is 101 yesterday. Really? I can't even get quotes anymore for Russian ruble. Can we get that even on here anymore? It's like the rupee in India. Let's see if we can get dollar ruble. Was that a dollar ruble that you were looking at? Yeah, I don't even see it on Dukascopy anymore. They're not even trading it. And they don't, I used to have it on here, but they don't trade it here in the States anymore either. Let's see if I can get a quote on it. They seem to stop trading it about a year and a half ago. Let's see, where am I going? Russian ruble. Russian ruble. Oh, I know where I want to try it. Let me see if I can find it right here. No, not that one. Let's try this again. There we go. I think I might find a spot. Let me see. I'm checking now to see if we can find the Russian ruble here in the States. Ruble. Let's see. Try. Oh, here we go. Russian ruble weakest level since early days of Ukraine. Ruble. How about dollar ruble? Let's see if we can get dollar ruble. Dollar. Whoop. Weakest. Let's see if they show it here. Russian ruble, just that It's at the weakest point, but they're not giving me a quote. Russian ruble at weakest level since early days of Ukraine. That's all they're saying. Continue to read. Let's see if we can get a quote in it. Let's try this. USD. Let's see. R U. Oh, here we go. I think I got a quote. Yeah, I have it at 101.26 at the moment. I think I can get this up on the screen for you too. Let's see if we can get this up on the screen. This is going to be interesting. Let's try that. Wow. Talk about getting crushed, you know? Not there. Let's see. There we go. Okay, now add ticker and then add. Here we go. I think I can get this up on our screen through the new platform. This will be very interesting. There. Let's see, what's the symbol at? I have the symbol. Okay. There it is right there. So RUB X. Okay, cool. Let's see what happens here. $102. Yeah, oh wow. Wow. Now it's trading at par 83. It is flying around. Don't doubt that. Let's see. Trading. Here we go. Here it comes. And yeah, okay, there we go. Let's see what happens here. All right, yep, we got it. Here it comes. It's a little wild here when it comes to the daily. And there's the weekly. It's been in a buy since, where is that? The 90s area. See that right there? Let's see if we can make this, contract this a little bit more like that. So from the 90s area, we've been in a buy right here. 85 area back in June. And it's been, it's hard to tell exactly with this stuff, but it looks like it's been in a daily buy for a while. But it's having wild swings, just wild swings. And then low. Okay, so today's low was 98. What is that? 98.5, and it's traded to 102.35. And right now, as we speak, it's trading at par 85. It is flying around in circles. I mean, it's just wild. Yowzer. Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. And there's the weekly. So it went into the weekly in the 85s. Right there. Like that. It went into the weekly right there. In the 85s. What's that? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks back. 2 months ago. The daily is so wild that it's flatlining because of the extremes. We have to find a way of getting my son to make that so we can control that, so we can see that. That is wild. Ugh. Let's see, where's it at now? It's still, I got it still quoted at par 85. Let's see if we can get a refresh on it. Still par 85. Wow. Talk about excitement, huh? Yeah, that's interesting, all right. Par. My God. Par. So a ruble is a penny now. My God. And one time, the 4 rubles to a dollar, it was 25 cents. For the longest time, it was 4 rubles to a dollar. Now it's, geez, they're just like, wow. I don't even know how to describe it anymore. It is just wild and woolly. Does the weak ruble mean for Russian economy? You know, we looked at that last week. What did they? I saved that. Was it? What are they, like a little under $2 trillion economy? Remember we looked at? We had all those economies. Let's see if I can find that. Maybe it's over here. I have it somewhere around here. I think it's like a $2 trillion economy. You know, that's such a confusion. I mean, they're in the middle of war. They're fighting with, everybody to a great extent, except for China and Belarus and Iran. I don't even know how to try to describe it in plain words. I just know that the numbers are always much easier to trust in the end. But you can't really it's not the price of the currency. In other words, just because the currency's at par now, at 100, does that really bring in buyers compared to 85? I doubt it. If there's not good laws to govern economics in a country, it's going to be very hard. I mean, look at Turkey. Turkey's going from 1 to 30. So, I mean, the rules keep on staying. You'd have to say, basically, the rules work against the economy. That's what's going on. The rules are working against the economy in Turkey. And the rules are obviously working against the economy in Russia. And so it doesn't really matter if it's 85 or 100 or 120. If you don't think you're going to get your money back, it makes it awful hard to risk it. So in other words, companies are risking money. They'll risk only so much to have a position in a country that they think is undervalued. Like in China, they're all trapped. They get incredible cheap labor, and they manufacture for American companies, but they can't get their money out. But they can only, in other words, so their factories are, what they built there, and they may lose them, that type of thing. And at the same time, that the supply will come from safer places in time, and they're doing that. Their countries are, companies that are in China, they're building plants in Vietnam and Thailand and Taiwan and Japan and I think in some places in Malaysia and Indonesia. They're doing the same thing in a safer economic situation. So, I guess what it comes down to is the day that they're not manufacturing in China, companies in China. Now this is just comparing it to Russia. The day that they're not manufacturing anymore and those factories are sitting idle, that will go on the books as expense. And then will the government take it over and become competition? It's a really tough question when you have that type of governments, Let's see. Mountain says, does all of Russia's economy is about the same as Canada? Yeah, that makes sense. Do you know of any traders that made a lot of money on the Turkish lira from 1 to 30? Nah. I remember when we tried to jump in and trade it when it was in 9s and 10s, it was impossible to trade. I mean, now, longer term businesses, it makes sense for them to be involved, but the swings in the options are just almost non-existent, and so the swings of 8.5 to 9.5 in a day is a dramatic position. It's really hard to you know hold a position. So and the margins are enormous. The margins are like as if it falls back to 4, and if it could run to 12 in a day. That's the problem. Is the margins are just outrageous. So it's been very hard for anybody to really trade that unless you're like a manufacturer or a import exporter of Turkish material, products and so forth. But when it comes to the actual being able to trade the currency, the margins are just extreme. I tried trading them in, like I said, the 9s and the 10s and the 12s and the 14s. They wanted ridiculous margins, and the risk wasn't worth it. It just wasn't worth it. Does that make sense? So that's where we stand. And I imagine there was some, I would imagine it was probably hard for, at one point I imagine there might have been banks that benefited from the trading from, say, 1 to 3 or 1 to 2 or 1 to 4. But as that got higher up, the margins became extreme. So you had to have money in your account as if the product was going to fall back from, say, 7 to 5. That's not worth the risk. Not even close. So that becomes a illiquid product, which again then makes it even worse. It accentuates it. Accentuates the extreme. Okay, wow. The ruble is now trading at 101.92. It's swinging in rubles, in full rubles, like 100, 101, 102. We just saw it at par 85. It just jumped 1.7 rubles in the trade. Broker wanted huge margin on the hand that trade the lira. Yeah, well, yeah, they got it. Yeah, they have to have that margin, or they'll go out of business. Exactly. All right, so that's let's see if we can give this a refresh. But it's so wild. There we are. One more look at it on the ruble, just because of the extremes. I wonder if I can do this. No, it doesn't even show it there. Okay. And then all right. So that's wild, the ruble. I'm thank you for bringing it up. I haven't looked at the ruble in so long. Let's see, SPY. Let's see what SPY's doing. I imagine it's down now. I see the Dow Jones down 38. When I got up this morning, the Dow Jones was up at 65. So, okay, let's see, weekly, right there. Let's see. Let's try this. There's the intraday. They're towards the lows of the day, right there. They're trying to bounce up on the futures contract. Let's go open up SPY for you. Let's see. File, open, Robin stock. Here it comes. And there's a SPY right there at 44469. Was trying to get through the buy at one point. Now it's rolled over. It's playing with the weekly sell too, as you can see right there. Let's see, Mountain says, but Russian importers are having a hard time with the 101. I imagine so, yeah. Over the last 8 weeks, it's gone from 85 to what we saw today of almost 103. So, yeah, I imagine that makes it tough. It's you almost want to trade. You want to barter. In other words, let's say you're buying something from Russia. You want to almost barter it with something physical instead of taking currency from it. Like oil or metals or wheat or something like that. Like literally trade, because the currency itself is, what was that? From 85 to 103 in 8 weeks is something like a 17% move. That's pretty hard to deal with. Now ruble's there. Now we got ruble at 102.35. And the high today is. See if I can figure out what the high is. I guess it's at the high right now. 105, 102.35 is the high for the day. Wow. Up 3.26 rubles on the day. Wow. I don't have much more to say than that. Let's give it a quick run and gun. We're going to go look at, we'll just take a look at we'll skip by the, let's close that. Let's skip by the, yes, still. Where's it at? Right here. Here is the Mexican peso. Let's just take a quick look at that. It's like stalled now, right there. All right. I'm not going to say much more except for the fact that it closed in a weekly buy the week before, went into a weekly sell last week, and now it's back into a weekly buy again. It's trying to climb the weekly buy with no problem. So this is really noisy. When it comes to, let's go to the South African Rand. You can see the Rand is going after highs. That means the metals, let's go over to the metals contracts and see what metals are doing. There is gold right there. Gold's making new lows at 1338. This is the December contract. And on J4X, that means it could be literally playing with the, let's go take a look at it on J4X. Where's that mouse at? Right there. Trading, it's playing with the 1900 area, 1906 trading. Silver. See silver doing the same thing. It was, it was trying to press into the sell. Let's just fix that. There we are. Yeah, it closed in the buy. I guess it closed in the buy on Friday. That's what it did. And now it's jumping back into the sell. Let's grab one of these buys and put it in there. Yeah, so it's pushing itself right back into the sell. It did close on Friday on the sell, so you couldn't take the buy, but that's besides the point. And you can see the pressure on it now. Then let's take a look at copper, which was kind of interesting. Let's see, their exports. Russia imports are, yeah, let's see. And let me just save that too at the same time. There we are. Then from there, what do? We go to copper. Copper doing the same thing. The pressure's on it. And, it's not getting out of its own way. They tried to get it into the buy on Friday, I thought. Let's just go with copper right there. And then the platinum. Platinum closed in a daily buy on Friday. And it was on Thursday too. But now we are, and it stayed in the weekly, but now it's flirting with the weekly sell with no problem at all. And the manifold is tightened up really. Like I said, this is buyer strike more than it is selling. So I'm not like all hepped up and thinking, oh my goodness, this means something big. I just think that it's just we're in one of those situations at the moment where the marketplace is just summertime doldrums. That's what they used to call it, summertime doldrums. So all right, now there's natural gas, and we'll go throw Canadian up on J4X. Right there. Canadian is pushing up also for the day, and natural gas is in a daily sell but in a weekly buy. And then you can see here crude oil closed on Friday in a sell, and it's trying to break down a little bit more. I mean, we are at some high points here in the oil market, so that's going to be the next real challenge, So, let's see, exports. Let's see, but Russian imports. Okay, yeah. That's interesting. Russian exporters are getting paid huge money for their exports. Yeah, I guess. What do you mean, like oil or just anything? All right, traders, we're going to jump out of here, and we will catch you all tomorrow. Maybe you can tell me, Mountain, what products are being gobbled up. All right, happy trails to you until we meet again. New high in the ruble, 102.41. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Catch you on Tuesday.